Makwe Masilela of Makwe Fund Managers has been watching the markets today, and he joins me to unpack those. Makwe, I was saying in my intro, a complete opposite from the sell-off, the huge sell-off that we saw happening on the markets yesterday. Markets staging a complete turnaround, the JSE ending the day in really positive territory. Some of the major contributors to today's movements.
Afternoon, and we hope it's not a dead cat bounce after closing down over 2% yesterday. But here it's a question of, I think as market players, we've got faith, on the Chinese Communist Party that they'll come to help out, Evergrande, that it doesn't default. We know they've got interest payments due on Thursday and next week Wednesday as well. But yesterday we were worried that this might be another Lehman's moment, but most analysts were at pains to explain that this is not the case. But should maybe the Beijing authorities realize that this might affect the economy, definitely they will chip in. So we're just pinning our hopes on that. And also, we're looking ahead to what is happening with the US Fed meeting, which started today, so that we can get some guidance when it comes to tapering timetables.
Right, let's move on to the local unit now. I mean, there was some really great positivity we saw over the last 2 weeks. The rand even reaching around levels of 14 rand 14 against the US dollar. Now we're back at around 14 rand 86. Are we approaching 14.90 or perhaps even 15 rand? And is this a pure dollar strength story?
More of a dollar story, because this is more of a classic situation where people run for safety, because it's not just the US dollar which is strengthening. I mean, all safety currencies, your Japanese yen, your Swiss franc, has been strengthening. And also with the Fed meeting happening, people are thinking that, as we have the Fed chairperson indicated at some point, that sometime this year they should be looking at to start slowing down when it comes to those bond purchases that they're doing every month. So since the meeting started today, an announcement expected tomorrow, and we know that every time there's some bit of tapering, then it favors the likes of the dollar and becomes unfortunate for the likes of the rand.
On to some company news now. Makwe, Telkom trying to unlock value for shareholders, announcing that it will be listing its towers business. Your thoughts on this particular move, and is there really a value proposition for shareholders with this move?
Definitely there is, because now we don't realize that value as it is. And remember, sometime last week or so, the likes of MTN, remember, they've got shareholding of almost 29% in that wireless tower company, also indicated that they'll be looking at doing an IPO when it comes to the New York Stock Exchange. So back home here, that Telkom have been telling us that they're looking to unbundle going forward. So it was good news for them to inform us. And if you look at that business, I mean, if the quarter ended in June, they managed to increase the leases by almost 6.9%. They managed to build almost 26 towers just within that quarter. They also managed to increase their revenue by almost 7.6%. That for 5 years they've been helping them to rebase their balance sheet and also help them to reinvest the cash into the business.
Right, Makwe, we are losing you on the line there, but I have to ask you very briefly, if you could, Grand Parade finally being able to get rid of Burger King. I mean, your thoughts on the prospects for Grand Parade now that they are refocusing the business as opposed to trying to get rid of the non-performing investments that they had?
We expect them to start doing better because they'll now be focusing mainly on the gaming sector. And as seen, this companies have not been doing well for them. I mean, it's not the we call it donors getting out of that. So if you see that some other components are not working for you, it's all well and good that you must get rid of them. And at last, they managed to get the approval, as we know that it was disapproved because of the BE issue. But if you look at the conditions, you can see that the Competition Tribunal tried to cover all that.
They did indeed. Makwe Masilela of Makwe Fund Managers giving us a wrap of the markets a day that was.